everyone, welcome to day 4 of the Purl Sew Along. Today is our final day. I know we had a couple days off for catch-up days and for the weekend. So we are here to finish this beautiful dress, gorgeous little neckline with a beautiful little zipper. Today we get to do the sleeves and we are going to do the hem. You can do a regular hem, but in the video we are going to do the ruffle hem. Thanks for joining our Purl Sew Along. You can follow along in our Facebook group as well at facebook.com/groups/SLPCO. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Simple Life Patterns. While you're here, don't forget to subscribe. Okay, now that our zipper is done, we are going to go ahead and work on attaching our lining to our bodice and skirt seam. I like to use steam a seam. This is 1/4 inch steam a seam. It's a double-sided fusible, so it makes it really easy. If you pin it and sew, so if you start pinning it and you sew from the outside, many times I've had something happen like this and it misses it. So we want to avoid that. I like to just have it stuck in place for a little while I sew it. It says it's permanent, but for something like this where you're placing it on this bumpy fabric, it won't be permanent. So after you iron this in, make sure you do top stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put this on there. Okay, now you can see that it's pretty well attached. I can't really pull it off unless I really try to pull it, so it will stay in place for when I get ready to top stitch. I'm going to set my sleeves aside. Figure we'll start with the hem right now. Okay, so I have these 3 ruffle pieces. This is going to be a pretty big ruffle. And I'm going to take 2 of them and place them right sides together. And I'm going to go ahead and sew down one short side here. Okay, now we have a super long strip. This is only 2/3 of our ruffle. So let's go ahead and add the last one. Okay, so I'm going to take this 3rd strip, place it right sides together, and I'm going to sew down this little short side right here. I'm just going to sew right down here. Okay, now we have a super long ruffle. Super fun, huh? I feel like this little ruffle makes just a big difference in the look of the dress. It really adds that feminine touch that I really like. So now we're going to take this and make sure nothing's twisted and get these last 2 pieces so everything's nice and straight, as you can see here, kind of. It's all straight. So now that we have these right sides together, we're going to sew down this short side. Now we have a really big circle. Now that we have our ruffle pieces all sewn together and nothing's twisted, always double check because you don't want to do all that work and then it not work out. So we have that nice big circle. We are going to press all of our seams open. So we're going to take it, fold it in half, wrong sides together, and press. So you're going to do this with the whole ruffle. Okay, wasn't that super fast? Okay, now we need to gather this. I know on our skirt I showed you guys the method where you do 2 rows of gathering stitches and then you gather it by squeezing them all together. Well, this is a lot to gather and I don't want to have to unpick that second row of stitching or any row of stitching on this ruffle. So I'm going to go ahead and show you just kind of show you how my other method works. Let's see, okay. So you need to pull your bobbin thread up, get a nice long tail, and I like to make these a little bit longer than normal just in case this gathers it too much, because we're going to have our machine do the work for us. So you can mark it however you want for even ruffles. So I'll take one, like this side right here, I'll put a pin in. This is where I have a seam, and then I'll find the opposite side, because here's my other two seams right here. So then that means this is the other side. So I can line these up with the skirt side seams. That just gives me a little bit more control over how evenly it's gathered, because this isn't like a super perfect method, but it's the fast way, the easy way, and it gets stuff done. Sometimes you just gotta get stuff done. It's usually me. So this is why I put it in my pattern tutorials, because I know I'm not the only one that likes to sew or to make a dress real quick. So I have, my width is at 5.5 millimeters, and I'm lining my raw edge of the fabric against the foot. This is roughly about 1/4 of an inch for me. It actually is 1/4 of an inch for me. So 1/4 of an inch from the raw edge, stitch length all the way at 5, or the longest stitch length that you can do. And the tension, I'm gonna do, mine goes all the way up to a 9. I'm not gonna do a full 9, because I do know that that will gather it too much in most cases. Now I'm not using, I usually use my white thread for the bobbin. Right now I do have red in there, so that's going to affect it a little bit. So I'm just going to kind of start out at like 7.6 for my tension. Just going to go ahead and give it a go and just kind of see how much it's gathering. It's not gathering very much, so I'm going to go ahead and up it to 8.2, because I feel like it's even worse to have to make your ruffle bigger than it is to have to gather it more, because I feel like you can break your thread a little bit more. That's working pretty good. So this ruffle, I believe, is probably the ratio of 1 to 1.75. It's kind of what I do for most ruffles. So you can kind of see it's just automatically gathering it. It's still not doing as much as I want. I will bump it up to 8.6. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, when you get to the end, raise your needle and your presser foot. Do not snip your threads. You need to pull out enough just in case it's too small. You need some extra wiggle room to make it bigger. I don't think mine's that way, but I'm gonna make sure I have long tails. Then we are gonna grab our dress skirt. Okay, so here is our skirt. So you can, I always just kind of spread it out as much as I can right there. I'm gonna grab this. And you can grab where your pins are if you marked them that way. And you can see I have a lot of extra gathering to do. So I'm gonna sit right here and work on adjusting my gathers till it's the same width as the skirt. And remember to use your bobbin thread. And if that's not true, then someone should tell me, because I've been following that rule since I started sewing. And I don't even know if it's true that your bobbin thread's stronger than your top thread. Okay, our ruffle is attached. I'm gonna go ahead and head over to the serger and serge around the ruffle and skirt hem seam. So I'll be back. Okay guys, our ruffle is on the dress. Isn't it just gorgeous? Don't worry, we're gonna top stitch it later. Right now we are gonna go ahead and skip to the sleeves. To do the sleeves, I like to do a little prep work first. It makes things a little bit easier. Here's your sleeve. So on this straight edge right here, I'm going to go ahead and fold it up 1/4 of an inch and press it. And I usually just eyeball it. I've done enough stuff with 1/4 of an inch where I feel pretty confident about what I do. Ugh, I'm out of steam. I hope you're not running out of steam. I crack myself up sometimes. Okay, that's gonna have to work. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and fold it up another 1/4 of an inch and press. Right now, all I'm really looking for are the fold lines to be on the sleeves for when we do the shirring on it, because we're not gonna top stitch this yet. It's just there for a guide for our shirring. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm not even gonna try to do that one, it didn't turn out very good, but I can still see where my lines are. So when it's folded up, you can kind of see your top stitching will be 1/8 of an inch above. So I'm gonna go about 3/8 of an inch from this folded edge, from the very bottom folded edge, and that's gonna be my first line of shirring. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my machine for 3/8 of an inch. Now, you can watch our shirring video. There's a lot of helpful tips for you to get the perfect tension and stitch length for your shirring. For me, I always remember 2, 4, 6. So my width I usually do at 2, but in this case it's gonna be 2.5. My length, stitch length will be 4.0 millimeters, and then my tension usually is a 6. I don't ever sew the garment that I'm actually working on right off the bat, because depending on how you wind your bobbin and everything, which is all in that video, kind of determines everything. So if I have a bobbin, you know, I'll go ahead and throw it in there and get a piece of scrap. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then once I have that set up, we'll come back and do the shirring. Okay, I think this is enough elastic thread for me to do a little sample on and to do my sleeves. Now, I like to make sure, obviously this is kind of like a top stitching, so you want to make sure you're using a coordinating thread. I have red in my needle right now, so I'm going to put my bobbin in there, and you'll learn some tips and tricks on how I do everything with shirring in the other video, which will be linked. And if you subscribe, you'll get a notification, I believe. I'm not really quite sure how that works. You can see all of our videos on our site here, so it should be there. So I'm at 4 length and 6 tension. I'm just going to double check it. And it is perfect. One tip that you'll learn in there is you never use your thread cutter when you're working with elastic thread in your bobbin. Okay, so here's my folded edge. I'm going to go ahead and do my shirring 3/8 of an inch from that folded edge. If I can get it to stay folded here. There we go. Okay. I think I'm actually going to go a little bit more. I'm going to go ahead and go more like a 5/8, maybe 3/4-ish. I'm not sure what 0 translates onto my machine here, but that's what I'm going to do, because I like the way, or where it's hitting on the sleeve, because I know I have to have my seam allowance right here, so I think it's going to be a good spot. So I'm going to go ahead and do a couple stitches, back stitch. Make sure you're going slow when you start out, or you'll lose your elastic thread. And go ahead and shear, go ahead and sew. Okay, so I have my 2 rows and they're about a 1/2 inch apart and it looks really pretty. So when these are all sewn, it's gonna kind of look like that. It's gonna be more scrunched in though. So I think that's just the cute little petite ruffle right there that kind of matches the petite ruffle on the dress. So it's perfect. If I had a bigger ruffle, I might go up a little bit more, but I think this is cute. I'm gonna go ahead and do the other sleeve. And right after I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and take my sleeves and place them right sides together. And I am going to serge, undoing my fold where I pressed where my hem is gonna be out on the sleeve. I'm gonna unfold that. And I'm gonna serge down this inseam of the sleeve right here. I'm gonna do that on both of these. So I'm gonna go do that while you guys catch up. I went ahead and serged the inside of the sleeve, and I also went ahead and top stitched that fold that we pressed earlier, just to go ahead and get to the fun part. This is the best part ever. You're gonna take your iron and blast your elastic thread right here that we used with steam, and it gets to shrink up all nice and pretty, so you can kind of see it shrinking. I'm trying to keep it so you guys can see what it's doing here. Okay, so we are ready for putting our sleeves in. Let's go ahead and get started on that. Okay, we are going to put our sleeves into the armholes. So I have the dress inside out. I'm gonna go ahead and take a sleeve that is right sides out, and I'm gonna place it on the inside, and your sleeve and your main bodice fabric will be right sides together. I'm gonna match up this seam. I'm hoping you can see this. My arm's not in the way. So you're gonna match up the seam. Oh, I forgot to mention also, those little notches that we put in there for doing a gathering stitch, you can do that. I'm going to do my own little poof sleeve, basically. I'll show you what I mean. I'm gonna pin all the way up till my notch marks on both sides. I'm going to move the dress with me so my arms aren't always in the way. I hope that's okay. Okay, so now I'm going to, I know this is the center top right here because I just folded it and found the top center of the sleeve. I'm going to go ahead and pin that to the shoulder seam. Now there's a couple different things that you can do. I usually just pin and do like a little, like an S-shaped fold. And I'll do one right here, and I'm going to do another one right about here. Sometimes I just find this easier than resetting up my machine for doing another gathering stitch right there. Especially when you kind of forget that you have to do a gathered sleeve, so this is my remedy for it. So. Okay, I have that all pinned. I'm going to go to the serger. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and pin the other side, and I'll go to the serger and serge both armholes. I will be back. Okay guys, we are almost done. I have put the sleeves onto our beautiful pearl dress. This gorgeous little back. Now all we have left to do is hem around the neckline, and if you did a tank top version, you will hem around the armholes. And we also need to top stitch our ruffle. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that after I switch my bobbin thread. I don't like to top stitch without the bobbin and top thread coordinating. Sometimes you might get a little bit of the bobbin up, and I don't want to see any white spots all over. So I'm going to go ahead and unzip this dress. Sorry. And take that off. I find it easier to do all my top stitching with only this arm thingy, this whatever that's called. I just like that for top stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to top stitch it 1/8 of an inch from the edge. Okay everyone, here is our final pearl dress. Isn't she just a beauty? And cute little poof sleeves, the nice feminine ruffle. I really hope you guys enjoyed this sew along, and let me know if you guys have any questions, or you can also request what sew along you would like to see next. We will not have one in December, but come January 2019 we will start them back up again. So let us know what you would like to see next. Thank you so much for following along. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you would like to follow us on Facebook or Instagram, we are at Simple Life Patterns. And you can also join our Facebook group where we host our sew-alongs and post all the inspiration, sneak peeks, pattern releases. Is all on in our Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/slpco. Thanks guys.